Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem Kakdash, the honors the apostles, and also great millstone for teaching us the truth. Peace and blessings to all to Israel and Shalom. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father in ancient Hebrew. Ba'Shem is the name. Yahushua is the name of the begotten Son. Back on lesson, and today we're going to be going to these food shortages and ultimately the famines that are on the rise, and ultimately the many complications that are going to come from this. So I need a few articles, get pick the meat from the bones, get the what we need for edification, and jump to the scriptures and Lord will be edifying. So start with the New York Post. Is that food shortages could be just as deadly as global. I'm not even gonna say that word, but you see the word right here. You gotta be careful on our words nowadays because they'll take it down. But a leading global health figure has warned the next worldwide health crisis could come in the form of a food shortages as the price of basic supplies skyrockets, and even the wealthiest of nations. So you're starting to see shrinkflation. You're seeing inflation, but shrinkflation is the decrease, in the product size and increase, in the price. So you're paying more for less. You're starting to see gas prices skyrocketing. Things are getting worse for America, and it's only going more downhill. So the price of basic supplies skyrocketing, and even the wealthiest of nations. Peter Sands, who is the executive director of the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria, believes a food shortage could be just as deadly as an airborne P-word if authorities fail to prepare. So you're seeing these plagues and pestilence that the Lord is sending out upon this place, showing the Lord is getting ready to tear this place up, man, to destroy it, man. A lot of people are going to die from these famines, these food shortages that you see. And as you see with the gas prices continuing to rise, you see the truckers not going to be able to pay over $1,000+ to fill up the tank every single stop. These truckers carry refrigerated goods, to your local supermarkets, man, to your stores for toilet paper or whatever the case may be, or frozen food, water, and you're gonna see many complications. As I said in the lesson, coming from this, man. Many people are gonna start fighting over food, killing each other over it. Things are only gonna go more downhill. So according to Sands, after over 2 years of completely restructuring the world upon the urgence of respiratory governments now have to prepare for an event more complicated beast. So let's jump to the other articles because I have 3 of them. So pick the meat from the bone. Once again, it says chronic food shortages from lettuce to sriracha and the rise of chicken. So you see they're running out of certain spices that goes into these things. And I made a lesson a few weeks back going to how there's 10 weeks of wheat left. Now you're seeing it with grain also. Says from the meteoric rise of chicken to shortages of consumer favorites, here are some of the latest key food stories from around the world. And you even see certain I believe videos coming out of how certain farmers have been paid to destroy their own crops. And there's also this one article going to this one farm of, I believe, eggs. It had something to do with eggs, which I'm trying to remember. I may make a lesson go to that after this. But, they burned the whole farm down, man. Or, basically targeted that part of it. But let's continue on. And I may make a lesson go to that, so we'll see. But for centuries of a delectable steak or pork loin has been the preferred choice of meat for diners as societies grew more affluent and improved their diets. No longer in less than a decade, for better or worse, humans for the first time will consume far more chicken than any other kind of protein. And you already see with the things that they do to these animals, injecting them with steroids to get a bigger, portion size, as they do with these other big animals like cows and other things also. This is a shift to poultry in major economies from Brazil to China is speeding up as inflation makes red meat too expensive for more of the world's population. You also see certain things are happening with grain, as you see certain animals, eat those types of things. And they're going to start having animals with less types of food, dying off, and just multiple other things, man. Many complications are going to come from this. There's an even darker side to the ascent of chicken. The birds can now put on pounds so quickly that organs and muscles can't keep up, making it hard for them to stand. Industrial chicken production also creates environmental problems because intensive feeding operations concentrate waste products and product odor issues. Let's get the next article and we'll jump to scriptures and we'll close out. It says 4th generation farmer food shortage is coming. So play a quick video, see if there's anything we can get from it, and read a little bit on down here, and get the script once again.
Welcome back. Today, the rising prices of inflation that we all see and feel, well, it goes far beyond the gas pump. Food prices this year, eggs up 32%, poultry up 16%, milk also up 16%, fats, oils 17%. Overall, the cost of...
And now people are start freaking out, trying to get as much food as they can to stock up, trying to prepare for the next lockdown or whatever the case may be. Now you're gonna have a lot less products in these stores, as scripts go into how the storehouses shall be cleaned out. And also many scripts go into how people are gonna be fighting each other over the food, even killing each other over it, man. And when people are hungry, they're gonna be able to. They're gonna want to do anything that they can to feed themselves, man. You even have people committing cannibalism. These are the times that we are heading into, man. It's gonna be serious. A lot of people see these things and think nothing of it. They have this false sense of reality that things are going to get better, that things are going to go back to normal. And nothing will touch America. This place is going downhill. It's literally on their last legs, man.
Food is up about 12%. That's the largest increase since 1979. Well, the only way to stop this inflation that we are all feeling is higher interest rates. That is a little bit like giving the economy chemotherapy, in the sense that chemo kills the cancer just a little bit faster than it kills the patient. That's the design, at least. Interest rates kill inflation just a little bit before it kills the economy, but it makes the economy quite sick.
And what they want, ultimately to usher in this digitized system, this NWO that they're trying to push, this beast system. I see many people are looking at the economy and just how bad it is and seeking for a solution, and a better design of it, for lack of better words. And these devils are going to swoop in as the so-called heroes to solve these problems, ultimately, that they are causing. These devils are not slick, man. If you have the eyes to see, you see what these devils are doing. But as average of Wall Street's tumble into a bear market Monday, with rising interest rates sending the S&P 500 more than 20% below its record, set early this year, one fourth-generation farmers is warning the worst is yet to come. Now you see these farmers, have carrots, potatoes, carry the chickens and cows and all these different things. And there's a few I'm trying to remember certain things, but I'm pretty sure some articles that came out, certain farmers have been paid to destroy their own crops, man. It's just all orchestrated. You see what these devils are trying to do. But as people are going to see the rising cost of food and local grocery stores in the coming month, John Boyd Jr. said during Monday edition on Balance with Leland Vittert. So along with the farming background, Boyd Jr. is the president of National Black Farmers Association and a member of President Bill Clinton's Tobacco Commission. All right, we'll just bit and we'll jump to the scriptures. Farmers are feeling the pinch from high cost of diesel fuel and fertilizer. Truckers are feeling the pinch, and you have a certain region in the world that's not planting crops at this time in Ukraine. And go back to what I was saying, with the gas prices that are rising, you have these truckers having to pay an immense amount of money just to fill up their tank. And they have to make a lot of stops to transport that food, refrigerated goods, and it's going to get to the point where they're not able to do this every single time and to bring the food and the necessities and the products to your local supermarkets, which is going to cause a lot of problems. A lot of people fighting over the food, killing each other over it. You're going to see the shelves being cleaned out. Things are going to go more downhill, as I said earlier. So we'll jump to the scriptures and keep it short, low one. I don't make it super long. With 2 Ezra 15:11-12, they go into these plagues that the Lord sent out upon these places. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before. As you know, going back to the book of Revelations, America is spiritually Sodom and Egypt. So modern day Egypt, America. So as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Verse 12, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. And you are seeing all these plagues, all these pestilence that Yahweh sent out upon this place, showing you we're nearing the end, and the Lord is preparing to destroy this place. And a lot of people in it, man. You're going to see a lot of people start to die. As you see now, even Justin Bieber, his whole face is paralyzed, or one side of it, which I may make a go to that. But 2 Ezra 15:49, but it says, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence to waste thy houses with destruction and death. So Yahweh is not playing any games, man. You're seeing things start to heat up. You're seeing tensions that the Lord is building ultimately for World War III. You see the sanctions, the bans that the U.S. has made against Russia. Now you're starting to see the inflation. The gas prices rising. Now you're seeing less food in the markets. I mean, come on, bro. And ultimately, this is the work of Yahweh Shema Shai, man. 2 Ezra 18 through 23. We're heading some very terrible and scary times, and y'all that don't repent and take heed to these warnings Yahweh Shema Shai is giving you through his men, which are the prophets that you see on these highways and byways that are prophesying and teaching this word and that are making these lessons. Y'all want to continue to take this for a game. You're going to get what's coming to you, man. You're going to face reality very, very soon. As I was saying earlier, people like to take this as entertainment, as nothing's going to happen, that we're crazy, we're conspiracy theorists. Well, guess what? Those conspiracy theories are becoming conspiracy facts. And people don't want to believe until it's at their doorstep, man. Until it's happened to them, until they're in the midst of that, man. But it's going to be too late. But it's the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? So, hey, things are only going to get worse, man. First Thessalonians 5 and 3, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child. You have these presidents, the mayors saying, oh, everything's fine, things are going to get better, don't worry about it. The instruction's going to come. Verses 19. Say, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment, judgment that the Lord is bringing out upon this place. And this is the work of the Lord, man. Verse 20 says, but for all these things they shall not turn from the wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Verse 21 says, behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. People seeing these, a while back, people saw these prices, life is good. I got these coupons, half off, this and that. Now you're starting to see these things slowly starting to rise. Those gas prices that you used to have. Behold, victory shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. Like, life can't get any better, And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. I mean, come on. Verse 22 says, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine. So it's showing you a lot of people are going to die from this, man. A lot of people are without food. And many scriptures also go into how many people are going to be fighting over this food and killing each other over it, which we'll get in later scriptures. But it says, shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So you're showing you're not going to escape the judgment that Yahweh Shai is bringing upon this place. Though you may be eaten, you're going to have a lot of people, especially taking the MOTB to eat some food. These are the pressures that these devils are going to apply to force your hand. It's clear as day what these devils are doing, man. Verse 23, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. A societal collapse is coming, man. All hell is going to break loose very, very soon. And when people are hungry, when people are starving, they're going to do anything that they can to eat, man, to fill their own belly, to protect themselves in these times, man. So a lot of you so-called feminists and you independent women, you will hit a reality check very soon, man. Without a man of the Lord in the last days, you are pretty much finished, man, because the man of the Lord will be that hiding place, presuming like Isaiah 4 and 1. But you not to go into a whole different topic. Continue on, 2 Ezra 15, 16 through 17. You see a lot of riots coming from this, protests, because not a lot of people are agreeing with America and the things that they are making. The bans of imports, the sanctions that they made against Russia, Ultimately, those are orchestrating these things, using Russia as the face of this so-called big problem that they orchestrated, man, that they have did. So for there should be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So the people in power, military or police, mayors, presidents, and all that. So they shall not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So a lot of riots, a lot of protests are going to take place, man, especially once they come down with the hammer, man. Once they start implementing these restrictions, these mandates, go back to Isaiah 10 and 1, woe to them the decree and watch his decrees. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, going to these restrictions that they're making the cities, these lockdowns that are going to happen, especially when they introduce this MOTB, which is pretty much here already, but it still needs to be mandated and pushed. They're going to start holding those checkpoints, where you need to show proof of verification and all that to be able to enter a city, your state, to travel, and to really do anything. And to buy things also coming soon. I have a lot of scriptures. Let's get 2nd Ezra 15:19. To go back to what I was saying earlier, having a lot of people killing each other over lack of bread, lack of food. So that man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. And spoils are good because lack of bread, because of spoils are. I remember that. And man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. So a lot of people, once again, as I said earlier, are going to have no remorse. They start breaking into people's homes, finding food, to fill themselves and to protect their own family. Killing each other over the lack of food. For example, so like I said, example 3 times, but if you saw, Black Friday, people walking out and are, waiting near the doors for them to unlock it and to let people in to get TVs and all these different things that are on sale. So you saw those people are all just grouped up and waiting for the people to unlock the doors. And once they're in, a lot of people are, running to the things that they want, that they need. And you even have people fighting over these things and killing each other over it, man. Would you see many videos of Black Friday? You just look at these giant fights, people fighting over TVs and all these different things. So imagine when it's food, man. Imagine that, when there's less products in these stores, when there's less things on the shelves. People are going to be killing each other over these things, man. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. We're in some very scary and terrible times. Pretty soon we're back to Matthew, the 24th chapter, the 21st verse and 22nd verse. Also the 2 Timothy 3:1, Jeremiah 30:7. Multiple scriptures going to tell just how bad the times are going to be, man. It's going to be very, very serious. Because Amos 4:6. So then I also have given you cleanness of teeth in all your cities. What does that mean? Cleanness of teeth. You haven't really ate anything. You haven't ate food. When you eat food, after you're done eating, people usually, wash or brush their teeth because, they have, food, stuck in their teeth or whatever the case may be. The Lord's going to give you cleanness of teeth. So without food, man, famine. I also have given you cleanness of teeth in all your cities and want of bread in all your places. Yet have you not returned unto me, said Yahweh by Shemashai. The Lord is the one orchestrating these things, man. Using these devils to create these scenarios and to cause all these different problems to ultimately bring this in, And a lot of people fear Esau, more than the Lord himself. That is putting the spirit on these devils to do these things, man. Let's get 1 Thessalonians 5:3. Said, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Going back to what I was saying near the beginning of the lesson, how a lot of people have this false sense of reality that things are going to get better. You have these leaders telling these people that everything's going to be fine, things are going to get better. Don't worry about it, this and that. Telling them lies. Watch this. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. There's no peace nor safety coming to this place, man, but death and destruction, man. As I said multiple times, things are going to get worse, man, and the prophets have warned you. A lot of people, when we made these lessons, we were prophesying these things, which prophecy be, it's like it goes into to say before. But going back to what I was saying, a lot of people saw us, calling us conspiracy theorists, calling us crazy. Oh, that's never going to happen. You're crazy talk. That's going to happen in, a long time from now, not in our generation, this and that. Yahweh I said a prophets to warn you of these things, man. To tell you to repent. To get right before it's too late and before these things come. It's like I was trying to find my correct words to use, but Isaiah 62:6-7 said, I've set watchmen upon thy walls, and who are the watchmen? The prophets. Said, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. I've set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. Ye that make mention of the Lord, keep not silent. So the Lord has set a watchman, those prophets, upon those towers to oversee the danger. You have watchmen that are on those towers. Will sound the alarm or warn the people of the coming danger. To prepare for what's coming. Are the prophets not doing that, man? Leading in the correct path, warning you of what's coming. To repent, to get right before it's too late. Come on. Verse 7, and give him no rest till he establish until he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. And close Ezekiel 33 and 33, because the prophets have warned you, man. You can't say you weren't warned. Many brothers have made lessons from the apostles, when others on down, have made multiple lessons telling you that these things were coming and it's going to get worse. We told you famines were to come, and when these things started to kick off, we told you it's only going to pick up, man. Ezekiel 33 and 33, and when this comes to pass, the Lord will come. Then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them. You know that a prophet has been warning you and telling you of these things. And once again, you have been warned. You can't say that you weren't, man, because the Lord has set up watchmen upon thy walls. So we just read Isaiah 62. That hold not their peace day nor night. Yeah, brothers, everywhere across the world, man. Everywhere. So, pretty much the main point of the lesson, when you make a lesson, go to these food shortages, and ultimately the famines to come. So, Lord, I hit the correct points I wanted, and you were edified. Kind of went in different routes in the lesson, but Lord, you're edified still. I do want to give all praises, all and glory to Yahweh Shem Ashai, by Shem Karkadash, to one of the apostles, and all the great millstone for Jesus' truth, peace and blessings, to Israel, and Shalom. See you next one.